This is Lex Montgomery with the SEO Duo, and I'm going to give you 7 tips to attract 10 new paving customers every single month. Tip number 1 is to address complaints in your marketing. It's better to call out anything that could be a question in your customer's mind before you even try to make the sale. The top 5 complaints amongst paving contractors and masonry contractors are hidden costs, poor communication, no referrals or references, what happens with the subbase or the foundation, and is that going to be extra, and how are you going to protect my yard and my landscaping. So you want to make sure to address these before you even approach the customer. Tip number 2, start a blog answering frequently asked questions. So having a blog on your website does 2 things. It builds authority in your community, so it makes you look like an expert, and you're going to answer a lot of questions that customers have, which will save you time as well as ease some of their objections. And it's also going to make you look like a professional on Google. And when Google goes to rank your website, it's going to notice that you have a blog and that lots of sites are linking back to your blog, and it's going to give you that credibility that you need to move towards that number 1 spot. Some ideas of blog posts that you can write about are: how much does asphalt cost? Or what is the process of paving or sealing my project? How long should I expect the asphalt to last? What if I want to add more asphalt later? How long will it take to install the asphalt? How long should I wait to put vehicles on the asphalt or sealant? And some other questions about maybe the timing or the staff or communication, anything that your customer could object in their mind before you make the sale. So tip number 3, you want to use that blog to rank for keywords and incorporate keywords like Los Angeles paver cost or paver installation process Dallas or new driveway Phoenix. Anything that you would want to show up in that first spot for Google for, you want to make sure you include in your blog post. Tip number 4, you want to address the fears of your customer in your marketing. So you just want to call these fears out. It's better to address things in advance. Your customer will trust you much more, and it's also really professional, and it looks like you've had experience and you know what you're doing. Some of the fears in this industry are the slope for the water drainage. So are you going to incorporate the slope? Are you going to make sure it's the right amount? Is it going to be 4 inches? Is it going to be 2 inches? A lot of customers seem to have this question. They also are wondering about compacting the subsoil before laying the base materials. They want to know if you're going to fill in space between pavers with joint sand. Are you going to top the foundation layer off with sand? What happens with the foundation? Is that going to cost extra? Are you going to use edging to keep the pavers in place? All these things are really important and need to be addressed because likely your customer is going to have questions about them down the line. I also know a lot of customers have questions about the process, the payment process, and whether, I know in some states it requires a lien, and so that should be addressed as well in advance so the customer has full trust in you. So tip number 5, there are 3 specific objections that you need to address in your marketing. The first objection is the customer is already working with a competitor. So you want to make sure you properly qualify customers in the beginning so that they don't have this objection after you put time and effort and energy into them. But you also want to make sure that you have something that makes you stand out from your competitors so that the customer can see that there's something different and very valuable about what you're offering. Just because they had their patio done by another company doesn't mean they won't be interested in having their driveway done by your company. That leads me to the next objection. It's too expensive. That's probably the most common objection you're going to face, and you just want to create and articulate that unique value proposition so that it's justifiable and customers will willingly pay whatever you ask. The third objection is let me shop around. To combat this objection, you need to make sure you're selling the next step and not just selling the product. So what's their life going to be like when they have this brand new driveway? How much value is it going to add to their home? Is it going to make the rainy season easier to have a proper slope? Or whatever the customer's fears and wants and desires are, you want to speak to those. And it's most beneficial to do that in your initial marketing before they even contact you for a quote. Tip number 6, add a Google Map Embed to your homepage. So for this step, you want to go to google.com/maps/place. You're going to type in your business address. Then when it pops up on the map, you're going to click Share, then click Embed Map, and then copy the code and add it to your website's CSS. It's pretty simple, but having a Google Map embed on your homepage is going to significantly increase the likelihood that you show up in the first few spots on Google. One, because it's a link from Google, but a Google Map embed is also beneficial because when you search for paving contractor Los Angeles, then there's going to be a set of 3 businesses or so that show up in like a map pack. And if you have that map embed, it's going to increase the chances that you show up in that map pack. Now, that doesn't actually count as the first few listings. So if you were to purchase SEO and have a lot of links going to your website, a lot of juice, and you were in the number 1 position, you would still be under the map pack. So you need to make sure you incorporate Google Maps so that you show up on the map pack as well. And if you don't have your address registered with Google My Business, you need to go in and make sure you're registered with Google My Business also. Tip number 7, mobile optimization. In July 2015, Google began penalizing any site that's not mobile optimized. Now, 80% of internet users own a smartphone, 34% of adults have a tablet. So you're looking at about 72% of consumers shopping on mobile-friendly websites. Google also just announced AMP Pages, which is accelerated mobile pages, and it's just another way to simplify the user experience on a mobile device. So you need to make sure your website is mobile optimized as well as AMP Pages optimized. Click the schedule a call button below, and we can discuss what your business needs to attract new customers and quadruple your income.